welcome to Waste Not Wednesday with the Southern Alleghenies Museum of Art. This week I brought you out to the woods and we're going to take a nature walk, pick up some natural items to create some environmental art that hopefully will then be left for someone else to see as they take a walk through here. At the risk of making you car sick, I feel like I need a GoPro camera for this. I'm going to take you for a little walk down the trail and along the stream. Just kind of discover things, see what I could use. I'm seeing a ton of branches, things that I could pick up without destroying anything. Coming closer to this other area of the stream, I know I have plenty of rocks in lots of different sizes. Here's a piece of pretty cool driftwood. And I just like hanging out at this area of our property because of the sound of the water. It's so peaceful and relaxing. So there's a little beach to our swimming hole. And so I think I'm gonna stick to this area and see what I can do here. this segment of Waste Not Wednesday, we're making sidewalk chalk paint. So rather than drawing, you'll get to paint on the sidewalk. Rain will wash it right off. It is made out of cornstarch, water, and food coloring. That's it. So the only other things you need are some sort of container. So I recycled a sherbet container, a whisk, and measuring cups. To prevent lumps, you're going to want to add the water first. So I'm making equal parts of water and cornstarch mixed together to create my original batch, and then I'm going to separate it into smaller containers to add the color to it. So just very, very gradually adding the cornstarch, and I'm using a small measuring cup so I can get it into the top of my containers. So I need 4 of these little containers worth, and it does kind of bunch up at the bottom if you let it sit for a while. So as you are mixing, keep it going, and then whenever it's time to paint, you're going to want to remix again. Now that it's all mixed, it's a very milky consistency, and I'm going to separate it into smaller containers. So again, recycled containers, and I did save some with lids because that way I can save my paint and use it multiple times. You just have to use your paintbrush to give it a little stir before each time you paint. But just taking a ladle like I would with soup, adding it into my containers, and then the next step is to add just a couple drops of food coloring until you're happy with the degree of color that's showing. If you want something more pale, you won't need very many. And then if you want it to be a bit brighter, of course, just give it a little bit more food coloring. And like I said, I have done this before. It's a lot of fun. I like it better than sidewalk chalk, and it does wash off whenever it rains. Since this theme is outdoor art, I intended to be outside the entire time and was actually sitting at my picnic table. But Pennsylvania weather does not always agree with us. And although it's not rainy, the wind is so crazy that you couldn't hear the video at all. So I just put 4 drops in, and I have a pretty pale blue. 4 drops of yellow made a very bright yellow. There you go, you can see it a little bit. So it just depends on the intensity that you're going for. I'm gonna add 3 more drops, and that's much better. So now I have a pretty bright paint. In fact, most sidewalk chalk is fairly pale, so this is actually going to be a little more vibrant than if I were drawing with sidewalk chalk that I bought from the store. We're gonna head outside and ignore the wind and make a great painting with our sidewalk chalk. Remember that wind I was talking about? So now we're gonna create something that includes this spilled mess because it knocked over all of the purple. Well, I'm a little windblown, but I still loved painting with the Sidewalk chalk paint. I could have went and just stretched flowers clear across my patio. I would have to mix a little bit more of the green, so now I know for future use to kind of think about my plan ahead of time and mix the colors that I want accordingly. And then the other thing is, if they feel like they're getting too thick, where they're just not spreading over the concrete as well as they should be, all you have to do is add a little bit of water. Just mix it up a little more. It does settle to the bottom pretty quickly, so I did take my whisk out with me. So that whisk throughout these weeks of the Waste Not Wednesday has been very helpful, because when you make homemade things, they tend to settle, and then you just need to mix them a little better in between uses. But overall, I'm super happy with how this particular paint came out. I remember making it for my kids whenever they were young enough, and really, who isn't young enough for it? I enjoyed myself. So give it a try, because it is a really simple recipe. Just that 1 part cornstarch to 1 part water, and however many drops of food coloring you need. So have fun this week. Take yourself outside.